Hello, hello. Cringe Crew Music Podcast Series 2. In this series, we are listening to and reviewing a band's entire discography. Currently working on the Wonder Years discography. We are on their... what album number is this? I have completely lost track. Album number 5. Their 2015 release, No Closer to Heaven. So, the last album that we listened to was the finale to their little trilogy that they were doing that started with The Upsides, and now that trilogy is done. So this album, just kind of going through the Wikipedia page here, it looks like sometime prior to the release of this album, Soupy did a solo project and released an album with that. And the band also went on tour and performed that entire trilogy during the 2015 Warped Tour, which is interesting. I'm not seeing anything particularly noteworthy to mention for this album. Ted, is there anything you think we should know about this before going in?
Yeah, so in the last album, there was a song that was about Soupy visiting his grandfather in the hospital. Mm-hmm. And then the ending to that album was also about the loss of a friend who was struggling with addiction. Between that album and this album, I believe he loses both of them. So a lot of this album revolves around death of loved ones. It's a super depressing album, and I gave Conley his warning yesterday so that he went in a little prepared. There was also a pretty significant moment of writer's block leading into this album. The band obviously promoted it, but this was admittedly not their favorite album. They didn't feel necessarily great about the writing going into it, and they just felt it was time to make a sad album about what was going on in their lives, which is a really interesting follow-up to 3 albums, that trilogy Mike was mentioning about positivity and overcoming. So
Alrighty. Well, I guess without any further ado, we can get into track number 1, Brothers and.
So through through Brothers and then Cardinals, the one message that comes up a bunch of time is we're no saviors if we can't save our brothers. I think it's a pretty harsh left turn from the end of the last album into this one, where it's like, yep, I can't be your friend anymore. Your addiction's taken over. I can't do it. Loses the friend, and then I wish I could have saved them. I wish we could have done something different. I'm no hero. I think the vibe of the song certainly matches the message in that it's kind of like upbeat and passionate, but in a way that's still kind of solemn, sad, and regretful. It's a pretty good vibe to set for what we're going to hear through the rest of the album. I think Cardinals is a pretty good song. I think the intro from Brothers and is really solid, but it's certainly leading us off to be real sad for an hour.
Oh boy, you warned me, and this is definitely I can feel it starting. Other than that, I don't have too much to add to this. This is still polished as it ever was. I'm interested to hear how sad this gets, I guess.
Yeah, if this is gonna be the whole vibe of the album, damn, I wasn't expecting to have my Sunday be sad, but here we are. I know we complained about Tom York needing a hug, but this guy, I think he needs it a little more. Like, Tom is just upset about society in general, which is a valid thing to be upset about, don't get me wrong, but I feel like this is a different kind of sad. Yeah. Hopefully you get what I mean. Oh boy. As far as the song goes, this is really good. Everything so far, including the last album, has just been really well done. A lot of polish to it. It just sounds good. It's just a damn good song. Nothing really overly negative to say about it. Which is good. I appreciate the consistency.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is that Conley kind of brought this up a little bit last week. That even when the emotions are negative, like Soupy's voice kind of fits the vibe. He sounds unreasonably good on this album. Like for
He
it
does,
being an
yeah.
album where he doesn't know what words to write and goes through writer's block, and then just hey, let's write an album about being sad. Like his voice kind of nails it. It's actually really impressive for something that he struggled to write.
All right. So we're now on song number 3, a song for Patsy Cline.
This album is super hard for me to listen to for a lot of reasons. Part of it for me, I think, is that they get rid of that like pop punk sound. There's nothing really like upbeat to it. There's none of that like hopeful positive energy even with sad lyrics. This one is just sad. I was kind of laughing as you guys were talking about Cardinals setting the vibe for being sad, and then the very first lines of this song are "My airbag light's been on for weeks. I have dreams of going through the windshield and I don't fix it." Right? Like it's just sad. I will say that they put like some kind of effort into keeping that like positive sound. Like somewhere distant in the background, there is still like a I don't want to say twinkling guitar, but it's kind of the same vibe, just in a minor key, so that it sounds more sad. But like the music to this is still good, very much fits the vibe, super percussive. It's just really sad and genuinely hard to listen to.
Yeah, if this is the vibe set for the rest of the album, yeah, this isn't gonna be on repeat anytime fucking soon. Not because it's bad, because I don't want to feel like this every fucking day. Holy fucking shit. Just fucking the one of you they transitioned from pop punk to like Midwest emo, and I don't know how I feel about it right now, just because I want them to be happy, damn it. Tom York needed a hug. Sorry, Mike. Tom York. Sorry, Tom York needed a hug, but yeah, Dan needs about 1,000 hugs and maybe like a pint of ice cream.
I think he needs a bit more than that.
Well, and some antidepressants.
I was gonna say something about me being an insane person for really liking this song a lot, and that I probably would listen to it again. But again, I'm an insane person. Yeah, I damn the lyrics, man. Everything else about this though, I really liked. I kind of like how this is moving away from pop punk a bit. Not that I've listened to much Midwest emo at all, but I dig this a lot actually. Which is very odd. But here we are, I guess. I'm curious to see what the rest of this album is like for sure. So, yeah. Track number 4, I Don't Like Who I Was Then. I got a scar across my forehead, turning purple in the cold.
I think this is the only song from this album that I will put on a playlist and like play without it being an intentionally sad playlist, because like Mike, I too am an insane person. This one's right back to that pop punk energy that we were kind of missing from Patsy Cline. There's an upbeat energy to the music. There's a sense of self-growth. There's it quite literally, like the title says, I'm not a fan of who I was, but I am growing into somebody better. And there's a sense of hope to it. The music is fun. It's again super percussive. Giving my shout outs to Mike Kennedy. I like this is just a banger. It's I think the best that this album has to offer.
Yeah, this one definitely went back to the pop punk feel that like the other album had, with the lyrics that, if I don't pay attention to, totally don't seem depressive as absolute fucking shit. Dan, can you get out of my fucking brain for like, I know this was written almost 10 years ago, but can you fuck off? there isn't much else for me to even say because everything about this musically is good. I don't really have much to add. The drums are good. They've grown so much. Compare this to what was it? Fucking even what the fuck was the first?
Get Stoked on It.
That's what I thought. Yeah, Get Stoked on It. It's like this is like night and day to a different fucking band, different singer almost. Like it's completely different, and they're just improving more and more. And this is still good, still amazing. Just fucking hell, can it be any more depressing? I just have to turn my brain off, and it's still really fucking good.
Man, we're not that far into the album, but I'm actually really loving this so far. Like, the other albums that we've listened to, I've just kind of felt meh about, but I don't know what it is about this one that I just really am into for some odd reason. This song in particular, I really liked. There was a part at the beginning where there's like kind of a noodly synth going on in the background that didn't happen again. It was just that one time that I happened to notice, and like, I don't know, something about Dan's vocals on this track in particular, like I really like a lot. Like I think out of everything we've listened to, this might be my favorite song so far. Alrighty. Moving on, track number 5, Cigarettes and Saints.
When my grandfather passed away a few years ago, my very next morning on my car ride to work, I just played this song on repeat my whole drive. This one is very distinctly like anti-God, but I still believe in you. I'm sorry you died, and here's what I'm going to do for you. It's very sad. It's very depressing. It's very dark, and Soupy still finds a way to manage to get fuck God in there, which I really appreciate. It's just real sad, man. Like there's nothing more to say, honestly.
I always gotta admire, being able to throw in a fuck God song into an album. It's always it doesn't matter what concept you can throw one of those in any album and it fucking fits. Just fucking sad, and the second half of the song after he starts with these wolves, that whole like the rest of the song after that, it just feels like so heavy emotional wise for Dan. And the one part in here where he literally says, "But I'll bet that you're still just a bit out of key," and the fact that he actually sings that the word key out of key is really fucking. I like that little aspect, and you can really, really hear his emotions in the second half of the song. Really good.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about this one that you guys haven't already said. The song is well done, but I think given the nature of the lyrical content, this probably isn't one that you're going to be putting on repeat. I would think. Yeah, good song. Just probably wouldn't go back to it much. All right, track number 6, The Bluest Things on Earth.
I'm not gonna lie, it's been a while since I've gone back to this album, but I kind of forgot this song existed, to be completely honest with you. It's similar to that pop punk sound, where it's still more like upbeat kind of vibe from the music, but the lyrics don't really get any happier than they have been. You can really hear the pain in Soupy's voice. It's an okay song. It's an interesting choice, I guess, to have this follow Cigarettes and Saints, but it's pretty good. I enjoyed this one. Just kind of forgot about it.
It's I almost feel like a broken record at this point because it's hey, Dan's sad. Dan's doing a really good fucking job as a songwriter and as a singer, and they've grown, and there's not really much I can bitch about. Which that's not a bad thing. It's just not anything I can make a funny joke about. That's like, need to go give Dan a hug, because I mean, if you haven't collected that after this by now, you have ears. Good God, yeah, he's sad. This is really good, and they're still getting better.
Yeah, pretty much exactly what I would have said, more or less. The band is staying consistent. Like, the quality is still on point. Like, nothing really negative to say about this one. Alrighty, track number 7, a song for Ernest Hemingway.
Guitar shriek is so goddamn unnecessary. It's just so loud and obnoxious in a key that doesn't matter. It's just sharp for no reason, and I hate it. No, it's not a bad song. I think there's a lot of metaphor and analogy in here, tying himself to Hemingway, and it's okay. It's not my favorite. I just feel like there's not a lot notable about this one.
Yeah, this might be the first song. I'm not saying that I don't like it. This is definitely the first song that kind of sounds like others. That has a very similar-ish tone to it that like some other songs do on their other albums. But yeah, you can tell that Soupy really loves poets. He reads a lot of poetry, I guess, which good for him. It's good. Not maybe the most unique or favorite, but it's good.
I guess specifically he likes poets that died early. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. I guess I kind of agree. The song's kind of meh. It does kind of sound like sound similar to some stuff that we've heard before, which isn't a bad thing, but it's whatever. Track number 8. Thanks for the ride.
Thanks for the ride.
So the song bothers the shit out of me. Mostly the fact that it got written. The past 7 songs are all, I'm really sad about my friend who overdosed and died. And then this one is, oh yeah, I have a friend in a coma. She's passing away. What if I wrote a song about the life she also doesn't get, so we've got more reasons to be sad? It's not a bad song. It's actually pretty decent to listen to if you ignore the premise of it, but it's just super strange that 7 songs in, oh yeah, there's more stuff to be sad about. Here you go.
This is Sad the album. If you could if you could give an album a color, this would be dark fucking blue.
Hey, well that's the album cover.
I know, and they knew what the fuck they were doing. Dan knew damn well. This one is, I don't know. This one almost feels more sad than some of the other ones. Maybe it's the premise that the thought of this person having a life cut too short. I don't know. Really sad song still. Dan's still goddamn sad. I need a hug. He needs a hug. We all need a fucking hug after this goddamn album. It's really fucking good though, like music wise.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. Though now that you pointed it out, I thought that this album was going to be about the one friend that died and just kind of talking about that. But yeah, it is kind of weird to have it about this other person who was in a coma, then died, and then coming up with like an imaginary scenario about the life that they could have potentially led. Like, that's kind of a weird thing, but whatever. It's, I guess. The song's okay. It's just, yeah, now that you've pointed that out, I agree. It is a little weird, but whatever. Track number 9, Stained Glass Ceilings.
The Jason Allen Butler feature is really good. Among the best features in pop punk. There's no way around it. I'm just upset that it happened in such a sad, otherwise purposeless song. The song is obviously written with a bunch of emotion, but there's just no punch to it. Not good, not bad, not happy, not sad, not angry, not nothing. It's just the bridge that features Dan and Jason Butler going back and forth is really good, but it's about everything's super hard. This is about poverty. This is about racism, which again is really weird when we started this album with 7 songs about I'm sad about my friend dying. I'm upset that this song is as good as it is to feel so out of place and otherwise less driven. I'm also still kind of bitter. I went to go see the Wonder Years show shortly after this album came out. Let Live was one of the openers, which the lead singer is Jason Butler, and Jason Butler was sick and didn't perform, so he didn't actually get Stained Glass Ceilings, and I'm tilted out of my mind. It's been like 6 years. I'm pissed.
Damn. Yeah, this one I can kind of feel Dan's like writer's block, kind of, where I can feel that, like, almost for those first 7 songs he felt like he had a more different direction, and this is definitely in the same vein of shit to be sad about. Don't get me wrong, I love Jason Butler to death, and I love his fucking feature on this. But goddamn, yeah, they really. Here's the list of shit to be sad about. It's still a good song. I still like it a lot. Jason Butler's good.
Yeah. I'm not too familiar with bands or artists in this genre, but I also agree that section was the highlight of the track. Again, kind of. You think that the album is just going to be kind of reflecting on friends passing away, and then you just kind of have this song that is list of things to be sad about and doesn't quite fit the theme. It's like, I don't know, the song's fine, but like, yeah, I guess there's only so much you can do, and you gotta change it up a little bit, but whatever, I guess.
It's around this point that I start wishing that this album had been an EP rather than a full-length album, just because like it really loses steam around Thanks for the Ride.
Yeah, it kind of seems like it so far, but I mean, we've got 4 more tracks left. It could turn back around. We'll see. Track 10. I Wanted So Badly to Be Brave.
So we're back to talking about Mike dying again, which is great. Back on track. This one also bothers me, just the idea that this was written. I think it's a lyric during Cardinals that basically like expresses the hatred for like trying to put blame on Mike's overdose, right? But this song is, your dad was abusive, so it's all his fucking fault. And it just kind of drives me nuts. It's a good song. It's isolated. I think that the message in it is powerful. Like it's against abuse. It's against a broken home and trying to be there and caring for your friends. But like just 6-7 songs removed from, let's not blame each other. Let's just be sad that you died. This drives me insane.
And we're back to Mike. Well, not you, Mike, but yeah, this kind of just makes the last 2 seem out of place more. Just because we're back to the guy that he was already talking about. Also, side note, man knows a bunch of fucking mics. If he knows this one, there's the mic that's in the band. I think wasn't there one that used to be in the band? Like, goddamn, dude knows a lot of mics. Yeah, it's a good song. They're doing really well with making the songs that I think maybe matter more sound different from the other ones. And this one I think does pretty well, honestly, even if its subject matter is not too much different from what we've been hearing.
I think this album should have maybe been shorter. I don't think it needed to be 13 tracks long. I think it could have ended by now, honestly. Like, having those 2 songs about not what the album was originally about, and now they're just kind of out of place, and going back to what we were originally talking about, like, yeah, like, I don't know. Feels like it's kind of gone on too long by this point. I don't know. Well, we'll see how I feel about the last 3 tracks here, but I think the sad is now getting to the point where, okay, I get it. You're sad. How many more songs can you write about being sad about the same thing? I'm sure I will be surprised. He probably has many more. Ugh. All right. Track number 11, You in January.
You were the one thing I got right.
So I just want to be super clear. The track list for this album: 7 songs about my dead friend Mike, 1 song about woman I knew at some point in my life who's in a coma, about to die, or just died, 1 song, Angry at Society. We're back to Mike, and now song 11, I Love My Wife. Fuck right off. It's a fine song. It's decent. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a nice ode to his wife. Why the fuck is it here? It's so calm. It's so slow. It genuinely sounds like the saddest song on this album, and it's the only one that has any shred of positivity in it. Fuck off.
Yeah, I was thinking this is the one song that we get that doesn't sound like he's. I mean, he doesn't sound depressed as shit. He probably still needs a hug. Doesn't sound like he wants it at the moment, but he definitely sounds like he could still probably need one. Yeah. This. It's not bad, but yeah, this doesn't fit with the rest of the album. This doesn't fit with the kind of very melancholy kind of feel that the rest of this shit has. This feels like it belongs on one of the other albums. It's like, hey guys, I know shit sucks, but we got this. It's something that fits this motif. Not shit sucks, I'm depressed, my friend's dead, and everyone else. Yeah, good song. Don't know if it belongs here.
Yeah, again, this should have been like a 6, maybe 7 song EP max. This did not need to be a 13-track album. You could have even done like 2 different separate EPs. You could have done the really depressed one and then the one where you're depressed about other things and also maybe not as depressed about things. I don't know. I'm just... The second half of this album is just a mess, like, content-wise. Like, I think instrumentally it's fine, but, like, the lyrics are not tied together to the same thing, and yeah, it's bothering me too.
So it's interesting you say that, like, we should have taken these songs and put them on an EP, right? Like, this song was the inspiration for them to write their acoustic EP, which has since gotten a sequel. They take some of their songs, they bunch them together, do acoustic versions, and this song is actually the ending track to the first one of those albums, right? Like, they genuinely did make an EP for this fucking song so they could have a collection of acoustic things that his wife likes. And they still... Why would you throw it on this album if that turns into that? Like, why put it on this album? Why?
Whatever. All right. Track number 12, Palm Reader.
I read through these lyrics a few times as this song went on. I still have no fucking idea what it's about. But one thing I can tell you for sure is that if I can't tell what it's not about Mike or any of the other people in his life that are dying or things to be sad about. The vibe is still super sad, but I don't even know what he's fucking sad about at this point in time. I really, by this point, just ready for the album to end and stop being sad about everything, and then also nothing, apparently. I don't want to be sad.
Please release me from this fucking sadness, Dan. Please. How many songs are we up to now? This is the 12th sad song, Dan. Please. Okay, maybe 11th sad song if you don't count You in January, because I mean technically that's more uplifting than anything else we hear on this album. I'm both curious and worried what this final track is going to be, seeing as up till maybe the last album they were doing a really good job with their album closer, so I'm very interested by what the fuck they close this one out with.
Yeah, again, the second half of this album is like still a mess. It shouldn't have. Why did you have to make it this long? You could have taken the past 5, 6 songs out, and it would have been fine as an EP. Just a sad EP. Now it's just a mess of various sad things that don't quite fit together, and it bothers me a lot. So yeah, I'm also a little scared to see how they ended this one. Anyway, track number 13, the title track, No Closer to Heaven.
You won't see the barrier, no, we
I don't mind this one. It's still not Mike's death like we got in the first 7 songs, but I think it is a pretty good end to the album if they skipped tracks 8 to 12. Like if we just played the first 6 or 7 songs and then this was the end, it's, things are sad, things aren't good. My dead friend and I feel responsible. I'm treading water and I can't get to the end. Like I'm not making progress, right? Like at least it would fit thematically with the past few albums. I think the reason that I don't necessarily care for this track is we had 4 or 5 back to back of shit that didn't make any sense and wasn't relevant at all. I think this is a decent end to the album. Realistically, it's probably a pretty good end to the album. It's just that the album itself kind of falls flat through the second half. It's not bad. It's a decent end. I'm just happy we're done with it, to be honest.
Yeah, I wish that this track 13 was actually track 8 and there was no tracks 9 to 13. Not that I wish these songs didn't exist. Just maybe if they were moved onto maybe if they almost got their own EP or something, and these 8 songs got to thrive in their own like spotlight and not have I don't know, like the weight of needing a full-length album to, because a lot of those I don't know, what do you want to say, 5-6 songs feel very filler, feel like they are almost Dan trying to fill an album instead of going with what it feels like he wanted, which was, it felt like he wanted to do an EP, but it feels like the music studio was probably like, yeah, you need an album, give us an album. So, but it's still good, it's really, really good still. Just, I could go without probably 5 of these tracks.
I think if you cut off the tracks after maybe 6 or 7 and then left in this track, it would be a very solid, like, kind of 8 out of 10 album, I think. With those other 6 tracks, it kind of falls more in line of like a 5 or a 6. Which is a shame because, yeah, that first half of the album was really strong, and then it just kind of fell apart after that, unfortunately. With that in mind, I realized I haven't actually written down my ratings up to this point, and we've got 2 albums left to go, so I'm going to let you guys do your ratings, and then I'm going to try to figure mine out real quick while you do that, and then I'll tell you what mine are.
All right. This album is certainly close to the bottom for me. I think the trilogy has to be top 3, right? The problem is that like I'm even considering the idea that this could be worse than Get Stoked on It.
Oh no.
It's just it's not bad. It's just not an album that you can like listen to on purpose unless your goal is how can I make myself as sad as everything as humanly possible, right? There's only really one song that I go out of my way to listen to. A couple of songs will appear in like intentionally sad playlists, right? But like there's a whole lot of why would they do this on this album? I think I'm gonna put it 4th and I'm gonna keep it ahead of Get Stoked on It, but I could have gone if we just skipped this album and it never existed, to be honest.
So I think I'll go in descending order, essentially. Greatest Generation, Suburbia, The Upsides. Then I think Closer to Heaven, then Get Stoked on It.
Okay, yeah, that's where I ended up as well. So my rating is the same.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, that's the album. I have quite a few things that I would like to talk about as well. I have a bit of a vinyl update, and then I also saw Tool very recently. Second time seeing them. I missed them when they were here in Salt Lake, so while I was in Mississippi visiting family, I saw them in Biloxi. I had really fucking good seats for this show. I genuinely have no clue how I got so lucky. I was basically on the floor. And those seats normally would have been closer to $500, but I think I paid like, I want to say like somewhere in the range of $250 to $300 for them, which is still expensive, but is so significantly cheaper than what they would have been normally that obviously I had to get it, and it was fantastic. Very strange thing occurred. I walk into the venue, I grab a beer, and I sit down, and I drink about half of my beer, and by that point, the first band, Elder, starts. They're kind of more of a prog rock kind of band. Very, very long songs. I think they played 4 10-minute tracks about. But I'm going to tell you, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's that I just had a really light dinner, but that one singular beer affected me so much that I felt like I was on mushrooms or some shit, because I'm just very focused on the lights, and I was borderline having some kind of anxiety attack that I don't remember a single thing about this band. Genuinely don't know what happened. I might as well have blacked out or something. So their set ends, and I'm like, man, I feel really fucking weird. I don't know what that was. I'm going to go walk around for 10 minutes. So I go do just that. I come back and sit back down in time for Tool to start, and I feel perfectly fine. Don't know what the fuck happened. So Tool starts their set, and unlike the last time I saw them, where they had this big kind of see-through transparent curtain thing that they were doing projections on, they just had a screen in the back, and Maynard is on either side of Danny Carey, who's in the middle, kind of swapping sides in between songs. And I like that he was like basically doing this goblin stance where he was like crouched and just kind of bobbing around and vibing to the song the whole time. Really like that. As always, Tool's visuals are some kind of incomprehensible mixture of various geometry, like 4D scans of... I don't know how else to describe it other than being like some kind of 4D scan of like an X-ray or something of like people, but there's something not quite right about them. Like the anatomy doesn't make sense.
Sounds like Tool.
Uh-huh.
They mostly played stuff off the new album, which I genuinely just don't care for at all. They like, I like Chocolate Chip Trip, and then maybe the first track which they played, and that's it. That's all off of that album that I like. They played Zombie, they played Rosetta Stoned, which is my all-time favorite Tool song. I love that they played that live, but goddamn, I could not make out a single word that Maynard was saying, unfortunately, which was like the only bummer about the whole thing. When they do Chocolate Chip Trip live, that's Danny Carey improvises it, which is neat, so that was cool. And then they ended with Stinkfist, which I think was a good way to end. Just very mid set list, unfortunately. Like, the good songs were good. It was cool to see those live, but I just don't like the new album at all, unfortunately. I think if you're gonna go see Tool, their visuals are the best part about it, and also it's Tool. So like, if you like them, go see them. You probably won't have a bad time.
Mm-hmm.
Get really high first.
Yeah, get really high first. There was a guy like 2 seats over from me that was very obviously smoking some Zaza. I could smell
I was gonna
it.
say, Mike, are you sure you didn't just get a contact high?
That is also a possibility.
Yeah, I don't think I've been to a rock concert that doesn't have at least 15 people smoking. It's different kinds of substances within arm's reach of me.
Yeah, when I saw Tool at the festival show over the summer, like it was good, but the entire time was like, man, I wish I was high. It would make this a million times better. And I have never wanted to be high like that.
Right. And then I also have a vinyl update. I have to go grab those real quick, so give me a second. All right. So while I was down south, I went to the old record store that I used to go into New Orleans, Peaches, and I picked up a couple things. I picked up the new Sleep Token, Take Me Back to Eden. Oddly enough, I've gotten really into this band lately. I think my favorite album by them is Sundowning, and then This Place Will Be Your Tomb is like my least favorite one. Like, there's some good tracks on it, but I think this one and Sundowning are my favorites. I also picked up Sturgill Simpson's Sound and Fury. Probably like the only country artist that I like. This is kind of more of a rock album. There's like
We did that one, didn't we?
I maybe.
Pretty sure we did. I know we did
maybe.
a certain.
Yeah, I think we did this one maybe.
Okay.
There is like I don't want to call it a movie. It's like a collection of all the music videos are on Netflix, and he got a bunch of anime producers to help out with it. So it's very interesting. Definitely check this out. And then for the fucking meme, I can't believe I found this. I found a Fortnite best of the lobby, and it's a bunch of original Fortnite tracks. And there was a code for a weapon skin in here. So
Oh my god.
I have that, I guess. I believe it. I believe the disc is yellow, also because peel.
That's nice.
But yeah, that's all I got. You may notice that this background looks familiar. I didn't point it out. The last couple episodes I was at my parents' place, but now we're back in the normal apartment. But I'm only going to be here for one more week after this, and then I'm moving a second time. So new place very shortly. Hopefully we will no longer have to throw a sheet over my window because the light is blinding. I'll try to figure out some kind of spot for my desk where that won't happen. All right. If nobody's got anything else, I guess we can wrap up. Catch
Sounds
y'all
good.
next time. See you.